Today I want to talk about a very delicate subject called institutional authority versus the authority of the spiritual master. Yesterday I read in the evening that in one Vaishnava institution, the institutional authorities released a new rule in which they said that the spiritual masters always under the administrative and governing rules of the institution. Of course, we do recognize that spiritual masters are not independent. They depend on their own spiritual master's blessings, on the sadhu's criteria, and on the scriptures to draw a truly authoritative conclusion, so to say, to make sure that you are right. And of course there's the inner conscience, which is very appreciated, or let's say it's of top importance in any circumstances in life. Chittete. But chittete, our inner conscience, is also not independent. It also has to associate, compare and check with the spiritual master, with the sadhus, and with the Holy Scriptures. Why is this such an important topic? Very simple. Because people can go wrong. Even if they are sitting on the chair of the teacher, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, they still can go wrong. That's why the scriptures have given this indication of a check-up system when there is a question, when there is a doubt, to be saved from what we may call arbitrary speculation of an individual. Now, we may think all glories to democracy, where we have a group of people voting on a topic, and in this way, supposedly, they will come up with the right solution. Now, if the democracy is a democracy amongst true and very deeply sincere sadhus, it actually has a validity. The sadhu democracy may work up to a certain point. But if they're not, then we can see that even groups of people with voting powers can still go wrong. So neither are they the safety or security that you never go wrong. In the case of Srila Prabhupada, our most beloved spiritual master, he is so extraordinary that he has been receiving titles even after his departure, such as Senapati, chosen empowered agent by Lord Chaitanya, Shaktiya Vesha Avatar, empowered incarnation of Lord Nityananda's spreading love potency. He has been recognized by his contribution, by the extraordinary proportion of what he did for the world. Nevertheless, if you want to pick on Srila Prabhupada and find faults in him, you may actually be able to do so. If he gave sannyas to a person who later failed in his sannyas, you may question, could he not foresee the inevitable to happen in the future? If he was Trikalagya, somebody who has the knowledge of the past, the present and the future, or in his establishment of cow protection farms, which later, due to circumstances, turned out to be unsustainable. Or establishing a gurukul, where later some degraded individuals would create abuse to children. One could question, didn't he see that? Didn't he know that? My personal answer to this is that Srila Prabhupada worked for his ideal with whoever Krishna sent to him, and he gave them a chance by telling them what to do and by giving the right examples how to do it. So you could say that Srila Prabhupada never failed on us. He gave us the love of his Guru. But because he was preaching in the Western world, there was an incredible risk taken as soon as you appoint anyone for any trust position. Now, even whether you are in business, whether you're in politics, or whether you are in spiritual community, always somebody has to be trusted. You have to give the keys to somebody. You have to give the management of the funds to somebody. Always in human life there are trust positions which can be powerfully utilized for very beautiful things, and they can also be misused. So, considering this fundamental condition, we are very concerned of finding good security measures to counteract abusive situations. Fortunately, we have one safeguard in our system, and that is Parameshvara. The Supreme Controller is Lord Krishna. He knows everything, and he is the benefactor judge of everyone. In other words, if you go wrong, he'll judge you, but for your benefit. He'll still make some arrangement which will kind of favor you to save you from your own faults. This is very nice. But even there we can see that Krishna sometimes loses his patience. If we may dare to say so, my dear Lord Govinda. In the sense that he says, this or that person, his earthly chance has come to an end for this round. He has to go and come again. It's up to him. He is the Supreme Controller. And we are in safe hands. We are in safe hands in Lord Krishna's hands. The safest of all. And he sent our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada so that we have a solid foundation of how to practice Krishna consciousness even in the degraded Western circumstances, if we stick to his safeguard instructions, of which number 1 are chanting Hare Krishna, number 2 follow the 4 regulative principles, and number 3 keep reading those holy scriptures, and number 4 do service, because without service even the chanting becomes some kind of I'm asking for service, but when the service comes, I'm not available anymore. So the question of having an institution ruling above the Guru has to be analyzed very carefully and also very generously. You know, after Srila Prabhupada left this world, and some of his leaders stopped working properly, to say it in soft words, some devotees proposed that it is best to eliminate the spiritual master function and to just leave it to Prabhupada as the huge, major spiritual master of all present and coming devotees. This proposal that whoever gives initiation after Prabhupada would be a Ritvik initiation where the actual guru is Srila Prabhupada, would practically equalize Krishna consciousness with Christianity. In a way, where you see there's the Son of God, He saved us all. Of course, we don't accept that He died for our sins so that we can keep sinning. That's another degradation of true spirituality. But whatever. And that you are connected to Jesus by coming in contact with one of his, or his institution, with several different practitioners, of which you may like some and get inspired by some, but they're never becoming that fully important, because the fully important position is given to Jesus. So the proposal of putting an institution over the Guru, that's a very strange proposal in a sense. If you analyze it, it's not Ritvikism of Srila Prabhupada. It would be the representation, initiation on behalf of an institution. Where's Prabhupada there? The institution has already shown in the past, in many occasions, to have faulty judgments. Faulty judgments in regards to other Vaishnavas, for example, who belong to other Vaishnava institutions, are initiated by spiritual masters of the same lineage, but not of the same institutional framework. And plenty of other examples of when institutional misjudgment causes quite some havoc, both in individual lives as well as in structural thinking of people who get educated under such a system, you know? Sorry to compare it, but when the socialists create a system how to educate the children, they give them a kind of a package to deal with life according to these parameters. A capitalistic system gives another type of frame, and a total military dictatorship has another framework. And if there is a king who may be like a dictator in one way, but who is very much beloved and caring to all, puts another framework of psychological guidance towards behavior in that system to people. So when institutions cast judgments which become systems or rules or regulations, it creates an impact upon the people who have to live under this, under the influence of such judgments. So, like when you have a guru, be shiksha or diksha guru, mark my words, I say both of them have the same validity to a certain degree, so much that Prabhupada wrote, or he quoted from Srila Jiva Goswami, that it is an offense to see a difference between shiksha and diksha guru. So that's a very, very important point. If I tell you something from my own spiritual family, the Vrinda family, I initiate devotees. It is my service in this family. And then I move on in my journey as a beggar of love to the next destination. And those people I initiated, they stay behind with the diverse qualities of shiksha gurus, which are hopefully of the highest quality, but may not always be. So they take care of the new devotees over a period of 364 days until I come back for one day. Of course, people can be in contact with me in many ways through my teachings and my questions and answers, which I continuously try to supply to the devotees. But nevertheless, many devotees in our mission see me once a year for a day. And many of them even less, because by now I can't even make it to visit once a day every place in a year. So, who's looking after the devotee? Who's delivering the Guru Tattva? These are the Shiksha Gurus. Those very wonderful surrendered devotees, good examples, who have taken Krishna to heart, like I took Prabhupada to heart. Hopefully. I wish it may be so. Taking your Guru to heart makes you a transparent via media of what he is for you. Through the authority and supervision of Sri Paramatma, the Lord in the heart, because you have to understand one thing, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, but he and the Paramatma. Be he the greatest and the most beautiful of all spiritual masters in the history, never ever has he impressed upon us that he is identical with the Paramatma, and matter of fact so he is not. So this is a very interesting thing to take into consideration, that the final guide, quality guarantee and quality control of Guru Tattva rests in Sri Paramatma Chaitya Guru. And all the others have a chance to participate by divine grace to deliver the divine goods of their Guru Tattva as they were able to appreciate them and as they were able to preserve them and as they were able to deliver them to you and as you are able to receive them. So there's quite a few steps built in the system which are somewhat faulty. But because of the quality control and the quality guarantee of Sri Paramatma for his devotees, there's nothing to be feared. Just we have to know how to deal with the diverse circumstances as we proceed. And when my Guru Deva said that he wanted all his disciples to become spiritual master, he was not joking. And also, I can only second it. Because to me, everyone who has come to me is factually a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. That they are under my guidance and get maybe inspired in their service through my existence, that is a special mercy upon me, that I can be somehow other useful for the divine purpose. I don't feel it's more than that, but I don't feel that this is little. I feel that is far high, incredible mercy if we can be an instrument of his love. That's what we always pray for, no? Oh my Lord, please let me be an instrument of your love. This is what it's all about. Anyhow, just as much as I can be so, you can be and shall be so if you're ready to go along with the requirements. Just like when you give a class in front of an audience, you are not the one who's doing the talking. At least you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be the transparent via medium for your guru's message to be delivered. That's why I always tell my dear friends, please try to be a speaker on behalf of Krishna. Because Krishna has given you the mouth for that purpose, that you can deliver beautiful speeches on behalf of Krishna, on Harikatha, on even Prabhupada Leela, for example. Krishna Lilamrita, Prabhupada Lilamrita. Yes, to hear the glories of the devotees is very dear to the Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the stories of the glories of the devotees. And don't think that telling the story of Prabhupada is any less ecstatic than the hearing the stories of Dhruva Maharaj. These are the extraordinary features that we are coming in contact with the high delivery of mercy, and whoever gets the mercy, that's a beautiful story. It makes up for another conversion. Of course, just because I was a Muslim in my life before I met the devotees, that doesn't make me immediately Haridas Thakur. No. There's a lot more to certain things in the divine planning department, which is the plan that Haridas Thakur was Brahma, who had the chance by Lord Gauranga's grace to appear in his Leela as the Nam Acharya. But still, when a Muslim converts to the love of all of Vaishnavism, we rejoice it as to be an extraordinary, beautiful thing to happen. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that the whole world is one family, we all belong to each other. All sectarian, I am better than you thoughts are not very appropriate or applicable to the how you deal with others in this world. Something which is often forgotten in institutional lawmaking, which is then not so spiritual lawmaking at all. Like, for example, the institution will release a law which will say it is not allowed to take instruction, shiksha, from anybody who is outside of the control of the institution. That sounds very similar to some systems we have found in politics or something, that you may not even know what the opposition proposes. Otherwise you'll be considered a traitor, and you will be dealt with like a traitor. And you know, in any time of conflict, in the mundane world, traitors are shut. And we have seen that in the spiritual institutions, those who have been considered traitors, instead of being shut, they're shunned. Means they're rejected and badly spoken about, denounced. So, philosophers, spiritual intellectuals, they have to deal with everything, including opposing views. If you are a Brahmin or a sannyasi, and you cannot deal lovingly with opposing views, then you're becoming the frog in the well philosopher. Then you're thinking, all you know what's happening in my well is my wisdom. But you know what Prabhupada said about the frog in the well philosophers. So if there's opposing views, we have to think about them and either refute them according to Guru Shastra Sadhu, or we have to accept what they propose if there is some constructive criticism on what we are doing. In other words, if the truth is approaching us in the form of opposition towards my misgivings, then shall I reject the truth because it doesn't come within the institutional framework? This is very dangerous attitude. It means you're creating a philosophical jail where you are limited to the conception of often polluted interests of lawmakers, which then contaminate the whole possibility of having a transcendental vision. And it is exactly here and there where the spiritual master comes in. The spiritual master is a free thinker. He's a person with his individual personal realization and criteria, who can evaluate faithfully according to Guru Shastra and Sadhu whatever he sees. Plus, he can adopt time, place and circumstance to whatever circumstance presents itself, which may be even new towards what his own guru had explained. I think one of the best ways to speak about that, just give you one example, it's called Facebook. Facebook definitely did not exist at the time of Srila Prabhupada or Srila Maharaj. It was so amazing that my own mother, who was a computer illiterate, when I saw her last time, she knew more about Facebook than I. I was very surprised. But Facebook is a great maya, a great illusion. It can really serve for losing Krishna, forgetting Krishna, wasting your time extremely. But that same Facebook, for announcing certain activities which a temple does, for any type of active communication tool towards other people in the world, could be considered a fantastic, never seen before tool. So we have the Zuckerman, who invented the Facebook. So, so he is a human being who became the instrument of delivering a technology which is putting people in contact with each other like never before. And it becomes a disease. There's Facebook clinics already, where people lose the contact with the external world because they're just mesmerized by the Facebook technology and I like you or you like me and all this business. And the real substance of propagating Krishna consciousness gets lost in him because he's not even practicing at that point. But if a temple, if a project uses Facebook to announce to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people their next activities, then it becomes a very extremely useful and appreciated tool. So it's a double-sided sword. can cut the right thing and can cut the wrong thing. So Prabhupada didn't say anything about Facebook. What the heck? Huh? So the new spiritual master should also say nothing about Facebook, because they should only say what Prabhupada said. So with such a type of conception, you kill the whole thing. The spiritual masters have to have a criteria how to utilize the new technology, and I'm just giving one example, there's plenty of examples for that. That time, place and circumstance may be favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness. The individual realization is the last checking point. And that cannot be checked. Save and accept when it is obvious that there's a deviation from the principles of bhakti. Then, of course, I give you one example, a very extreme example, but here we are talking the naked truth. There was one guy, he thought himself to be a spiritual master. He went from India to one Latin American country, and he started to give initiation. And he was a nice-looking, good young man also. So many of the girls he initiated fell in love with him. And he also fell in love with them. But not with one only. He fell in love with several of them. No, wrong. He became lusty after several of them. So he had several fall downs with several girls individually. So, very embarrassing if that's a spiritual master. Of course he's not. Who falls down into illicit sex life is not a spiritual master. Period. So that's the end of it. So the girls, they started finding out that he was not only falling down with one, but with another and another. So they felt cheated, because they were cheated. Because probably he told each one individual, "You are the life of my life," and like the only star on the sky. And since everybody wants to be the only star in the sky, so they love to hear that and accept it. But when they find out the only star were just one of many, those girls went together and denounced this guy before the immigration of the country, and he was kicked out from the country. Get out of here. Their own disciples kicked out. So you're talking about democracy, vox populi, or whatever. The own disciples got this guy evicted. And those girls took shelter of a very sincere senior devotee later to continue their spiritual life. So, yes, failure can be there in the individual spiritual master. Failure can be there in the entire institutional group of GBCs coming together and casting the vote for this or for that. I myself went through a period in my spiritual life where I was under the voting system of such a gremium. And at that time, there was a rule that nobody can be removed from a top post unless there's 75% of the vote against him. At that time, I went through the list and I thought, but more than 25% of them were in questionable conditions. So I said, what is this? Whatever they will vote about, they will never come up with the 75 to get somebody with faulty behavior removed, because more than 25% have faulty behavior, so they kill themselves. They created a system where the guard process cannot function anymore. It has no more safeguards. On the contrary, it's now releasing faulty legislation, faulty guidelines to others. It was then when I decided I better search out a sadhu who can guide me, because I don't want to have my life restricted and limited to the faulty judgments of others, which inhibit me from following my own heart and my understanding of what Srila Prabhupada wanted me to do. So when I read this now, that the absolutism was applied to the individual spiritual masters, they were demoted to be really just ritualistic mantra deliverers, because you can get the mantra from a tape recording or you can get it from the mouth of somebody. And the tape recording, if it's from the spiritual master with this blessing of the spiritual master, that had been used by Prabhupada himself for some of the second initiations where he was not personally present. So some people said, well, if that was done while Prabhupada was not there, why not do it while he's not there? And it's still the same mantra, the same power. Yes, and that is true. It's the same mantra, same power. But the element of accepting a spiritual master is to surrender to somebody and to serve somebody. You say, no, you don't have to serve the guru. You only have to serve the institution of the Parama Guru. That means also service is being put into a framework of an abstract connection, because you don't trust in anybody completely. Now that's another deficiency, because the element of love and trust is instrumental. It is the key towards giving yourself and feeling enthusiastic for spiritual life. And it goes in both ways. The guru loves and trusts you, because otherwise how he's going to tell you go out and preach? If the guru thinks you're just a bogus, you're just going to make nonsense, you're going to cheat people, is he going to tell you go out and preach? Am I going to say to you, give a class every day about Krishna, if I know all you're going to tell is lies and confusing the people? I would be suicidal saying that. So I tell you, give the message of Prabhupada with love and trust that you are capable and that Krishna may agree and go through you, because tomorrow you're out there somewhere and you preach about Krishna to somebody, and somebody may say, I love what you say, I love what you say, I have $10,000, I'm not doing anything with it, can you use it for Krishna? Well, why not? Is it prohibited to receive a donation for Krishna? No, it's not prohibited. So he comes and gives it to you because you gave the class. He was really touched by your class. And you go, $10,000. Thank you. Huh? If you at that moment think that money is yours, well, you fall down right there at that point. You have received this on behalf of Krishna, and you are supposed to use every penny of it for Krishna, otherwise you're cheating. But when I speak about love and trust, the Guru trusts me to do this, and I trust you to do this properly. And if somebody doesn't do it properly, it's up to his reaction. In other words, he has to be responsible for that. But I cannot base my whole life on mistrust. Because if I mistrust everybody, then I cannot preach. Then I will say, there's something very sacred, very secret, very beautiful, very incredible, and I would almost give it to you, but the problem is I can't trust you. So something, it can be something, and you figure it out by your own inner realization of something. No, as soon as I preach the Maha Mantra, I'm giving somebody a chance to get rid of all his sinful activities and to enter into a spiritual understanding. And that is the power of the mantra, not the power of my words. It's all the power of grace. So when you don't trust people, you are in bad shape. Now, vice versa, the trust also goes that I give you my trust and you also trust in me. Actually, spiritual life is a trust relationship, just like marriage. Even an ordinary marriage is a trust relationship. Because you work together, you put your money together, and you sleep next to the other person. Means when you're asleep, he can just put your knife in you. You have nothing you can do. Nobody has a bodyguard next to his husband and wife, no? So marriage is a trust relationship, 100%. And so how can the guru-disciple relationship not be a trust relationship? And there's no institution which stands above the husband and wife relationship except the court. Sometimes husband and wife end up in front of court. And she says, he did this and this and this and this. And like this, no? And the court may judge on this relationship. But who is the court above the guru? Where is that court, my dear? The disciple surrenders to the guru and says, please give me the mantra, please give me service, please accept me. I want to be your spiritual son. And the guru says, yes, I accept you as my child. I accept you. You'll be part of my family. It's a very intimate, personal connection that who's going to judge on that? Of course, the truth will judge, the Paramatma will judge, the history will judge, but in that personal, private relationship, who is going to be the judge there? If there's anything goes wrong, only Krishna himself can straighten it out practically. Because if you say, there's the guru, there's the disciple, but above him there is the sadhu samaj, the GBC or the sadhu samaj, then if you have problem with your guru, you speak to them. By the way, the guru has nothing to say, only he can repeat what the gremium is saying. Then that means the gremium doesn't trust the guru. And I am supposed to trust the guru? No. The gremium tells me, don't trust the guru. Just take the mantra from him, but do not trust him. But you should trust us in our criteria, because we put the guru and we can remove the guru. We'll give you a substitute guru if one fails. We have some spare gurus for such cases. But everything rests in the gremium. It doesn't rest in the guru's position. But this is not the presentation sustained by the Bhagavad Gita, when it says Tatvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. It says you should approach a guru, you should ask him humble questions, should offer your obeisance to him, means you have to become very humble, put your head on the ground, and you should serve him. And then he will instruct you when he sees your sincerity. He will teach you the truth, which he has seen. So this is the question, has he seen or has he not seen? Well, we believe he has seen if he met Prabhupada and lives in Prabhupada's service. And if he has not seen, doesn't matter. But Prabhupada and Krishna have seen, and they'll be in charge of this. Coming back to the point of Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru is such a powerful institution, and it's being given to people as temple presidents or so. Within 2 years in Krishna consciousness, many people had to take over a temple management. When I became the temple president of Denmark, I scarcely had 2.5 years in the movement. And here a whole temple was depending on me. So we have to see the practical side of it as well. And we have to see how important is love and trust. If we're going to eliminate love and trust from the transaction of spiritual organization, spiritual masters, representative of spiritual masters, and we just want to make it that the whole thing is just institutionally governed, then we are not following the tradition of our spiritual parampara. In our tradition, it is so much that the Ritvik system is in the heart of a devotee because he feels my guru is the real guru. That's appropriate. But the institutional connection, even the institutional formal Diksha connection, has been rejected in some of the cases of our parampara. Like when Bhaktivinoda Thakur declared his main connection to be Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was not his Diksha connection. But he gave preference over his Shiksha connection over the Diksha connection. And there's other examples like that, where Srila Bhakti Rakshakshira Maharaj explained that this is actually a Shiksha Guru Parampara. So this is one of the considerations here. And if you reflect upon it, you will find that institutional paramparas have not even fared very well. Or I may ask you, where is the institutional parampara of Srila Rupa Goswami in the Radha Govinda Mandir of Vrindavan? Where is it? Or the institutional parampara of Sanatan Goswami in the Madan Mohan temple? Or the institutional parampara of Raghunathas Goswami and Madhu Pandit? Where are they? Virtually, they're absent. Some people claim it's a family right thing, and they see that the buildings are administrated by the Indian Archaeological Society. So where's the parampara? The institutional paramparas have practically disappeared. Or if there are some people who claim that they have it, at least we can see they haven't done much for the world. But in the case of Srila Prabhupada, he had to go against the institutional parampara because there was no connection available. He actually tried to represent some of the Indian teachers who had some higher situation in the institution of his guru when he went to the West. But Krishna didn't want that. So he made a situation where Prabhupada had to start his own institution. But don't forget that Prabhupada also said, there's many institutions which are for saving people from the spirit, from ignorance and giving them Krishna, and his institution is one of them. Prabhupada never said, my institution is now the only institution and all the other institutions are invalidated and we should go against them or something like this, or they're deviations because they are not coming and to surrender to my institutional framework. Whoever comes up with such an idea, I must honestly say he's bogus. He's sectarian. He's fanatic. He's deviated from the essence. And even worse, he may have become a Vaishnava aparadi. And if you practice or teach Vaishnava aparad, then what good fortune will come to you? It's the elephant offense. Diminish, minimize, criticize, mistreat people connected to another spiritual family. This is all different types of Vaishnava aparad. So only individuals can save us because they can imbibe what is called love and trust, and they can get personal realizations, which we really hope that they will get. I hope that all my disciples will be so qualified Shiksha gurus that they deliver the mercy of my Diksha guru in a 100% quality. Quite a expectation from my beloved friends of my souls. And I want them to represent 100% of what I can't even understand. Good question, huh? Well, do I understand Krishna? No. Do I understand Srila Prabhupada? No. I love him. I feel grateful. I try to do what he told me to do. But if I dare to say that I understand Prabhupada, I don't. I don't want to lie to you. Do I understand Srila Maharaj? No, neither. How can anybody say that he understands the other anyway? I've heard that Krishna doesn't even understand himself. So then I don't feel that bad that I don't understand anything either. But just because Krishna doesn't understand himself, does it make him less Krishna or his mission less important for the whole world? I don't think so. That is the domain of love and trust. In love and trust, sometimes you do not understand. I do not understand the power of the Maha Mantra. But I've seen it. I've seen how it acts on people. I'm very grateful for the power of the Maha Mantra. But understanding it? Understanding the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam? I read it every day. I think it's really great stuff which is being taught in there. But do I understand the Srimad Bhagavatam? You remember the shloka, Vyasaveti, Shukaveti, Naveti va? It says, Shuka Veti Vyasa Veti Navirtiva. Shuka Deva Goswami, he understood the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasa Deva, maybe he understood, maybe he didn't understand. How is that? If he wrote it down, how he could not understand it? Because sometimes Srila Maharaj says, things descend in a special way through somebody to somebody else, which the one who's in between, he does not understand. But the one who's receiving, he understands. That's what Srila Maharaj wanted to say there. That's what we love, and that's what we trust. We love and trust that Krishna is looking after us, and that this mission is Krishna's mission. And if anything goes wrong, he'll come and intervene. And still we teach people to love their Diksha and Shiksha gurus. Because if we do not tell them love and trust your Shiksha gurus, they will not be inspired. They will not have enthusiasm to serve their Diksha and Shiksha gurus, to participate from the core of their heart, to risk themselves like their gurus are risking themselves for you and for the service of their guru. In the end, Srila Prabhupada said, the gurus are self-revealed. They are acting behalf of their Lord, their spiritual master, and their own consciousness. And if divine grace descends upon them, then Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tare Pravartan, then they will be able to show some incredible transformations. Either in quantity or in quality or in both. And when this is being seen, they become recognized as genuine representatives of the parampara. Then they can be understood as empowered agents of their spiritual master. And what will they say if you approach them and ask them personally about this? They will say, no. I am not empowered. It is the power of my guru which is happening here. All glories to him. I am and you are all depending on his grace. But this is not Ritwik. It is representative. The true humble representative. And through that chain or succession, this whole movement has continued and is alive. So the institutions, they can do some check and balance. They can organize some things which cannot be done by individuals as easy. Just like the Vishwa Vaishnav Raj Sabha. It invites all the Vaishnava groups to help clean the holy Dham together. If just at least you clean 100 or 200 meters in each direction around your beautiful mandirs, then already we have a clean Vrindavan. There's so many temples now everywhere. So if we have a spirit of doing things together, helping each other. For example, if one devotee publishes a beautiful book on the science and spirituality, like one devotee called Govardhan did in Mayapur, showing the importance of Prabhupada's teachings and the evidence found in the scientific discoveries for the transcendental teachings, then will it not be appreciated and used by all Vaishnavas? Science, social work, can that be restricted to one institution? Would any Vaishnava make a charitable medical service and restrict the charitable help to people only if they belong to his institution? When scientists, philosophers, and charitable people become sectarian, then you can surely tell that this is the end of spirituality. So therefore, basically, in the department of spiritual philosophy, and also where this philosophy is applied to practical decision making, there has to be freedom. There has to be individual criteria. And there has to be love and trust. Otherwise there will be no joy and no progress. If these observations are for the benefit of anybody who listens to them, I will be greatly rewarded, because my only ambition is to become a servant of the servant of the servants of those wonderful Vaishnavas who have developed a taste for Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Thank you. Somebody who can